Namaste. I'd like to begin with a story. And this is an excerpt from the third book of my Kali meditation series, which is available on Amazon Kindle. Swetakali, White Kali, the divine teacher who dispels fear. In the Kathmandu Valley of Nepal, Kali is an important form of the Divine Mother who manifests in several forms. One form, who acts as a divine teacher and guide, is the white Kali known as Swetakali, also known as Nardevi, the goddess of humanity, or Netta Madhu Ahima, the grandmother who guides us towards sweetness. Once in the 8th century of the Common Era, the king of the city-state of Patan was on a hunting trip in the jungles near Kathmandu. While stalking deer, he became separated from his party. As the darkness of night approached, he began to become fearful. As he wandered in circles, he was suddenly charged by a bull elephant. The king ran behind a large banyan tree and, believing that he would die, fainted in a panic. The jungle grew quiet as darkness approached. The stars appeared in the night sky. The king laid there motionless, as if dead. Silly man. A quiet voice spoke, and the king suddenly opened his eyes. Like so many, you believe that your existence ends with death of your physical shell. The king, stirred and confused by the words he heard, death is but an illusion, the maya of your body and its 5 senses. Because of your obsession with the material, you became fearful. But were you really ever lost? Can't you see the lamps and fires of Kathmandu so close by? The king realized how foolish he had been, and he saw the figure who had been speaking to him illuminated by the nearby lights. Her wrinkled skin was white. She was naked except for an animal hide. She squatted in a birth-giving pose. She had pendulous breasts, which had given nourishment to countless children. She wore a crown bearing 5 skulls and was adorned with an elephant goad, a damaru drum, a bloody sword, a shield, and a noose. She also held a trident which bore 3 heads on its shaft, one freshly cut, another in a state of decomposition, and a third simply a fleshless skull. She also held a cup fashioned from the top of a human skull, and her remaining hand was held in the mudra gesture of no fear. Though at first she appeared frightening in form, the king noticed a peaceful, comforting, motherly expression upon her face. She also bore a third eye glowing in the center of her forehead. The king knew at that moment that he had stumbled upon the abode of the Divine Mother, and he fell to her feet, worshipping her, and vowed to build a temple to her on that very spot. When the goddess faded from sight, the king rose and walked to the nearby city, feeling a sense of peace and enlightened awareness. Soon after, another king who ruled the nearby city of Bhaktipur also received a visitation from the white Kali in his bedchamber and vowed to assist the king of Patan in the building of her temple. Today, the temple sits upon a busy street corner in Kathmandu, adjacent to the city's Durbar, that is Royal Square. It consists of a 3-tiered golden pagoda-like roof, supported by wooden posts carved in the shapes of various deities. Its door is flanked by the statues of male and female lions, traditional for a Devi temple. A small temple to the god Shiva is also located next to it. Above its entrance is an elaborate brass relief of Nardevi Kali, Swetakali. Inside the temple, on the high altar, are silver images of Swetakali and other forms of the Divine Mother. The temple is visited by the locals throughout the day, especially in the morning and evening commutes. In 1934, a devastating earthquake rocked Kathmandu, destroying and damaging much of the surrounding area, yet the temple of Swetakali, also known as Nardevi Mandir, survived with no damage. To celebrate, dance festivals are held outside of the temple ever since. When a similar earthquake struck Kathmandu in 2015, once again, the temple of the White Kali survived. Turn my page here. Namaste to Jamie, who's joining right now. Nardevi Temple is my personal favorite in Kathmandu. I first visited there in 2010 while doing volunteer teaching and pilgrimage in Nepal. In 2015, Kali in the form of Nardevi became a great source of comfort to me as my own mother was dying. It was during that time when the earthquake struck, and my first thoughts, other than those for the people who survived the quake, were for the fate of my favorite temple. I spent several days searching the internet trying to find out if the temple had survived. About a week following the earthquake, I found a Facebook posting of somebody living in the Nardevi area, which included a photograph showing the massive destruction, and in the distance, through the dust suspended in the air, I could see the shape of Nardevi Mandir, still standing and undamaged. I soon after hosted a puja dedicated to Ma Swetakali for the purpose of raising money for earthquake relief. Because my mother was stricken that year, I had closed my temple, then known as Chamunda Mandir, in central Denver to care for her. She died at the age of 93 that year, and I inherited her house where I had grown up. I have since moved in with my wife and stepson, and it has become the new location for my temple, now called Tridevi Chamunda Mandir. On the temple altars, Ma Swetakali occupies a central position. I had the opportunity to share the story of my temple with the members of the family caring for the Nardevi temple in Kathmandu when I returned there to visit again in the fall of 2018. Namaste and welcome to Tridevi Chamunda Mandir in Denver, Colorado. This is Yamajit, and thank you so very much for joining me tonight for part 10 of our series, Kali for Everyone. And here is a photo I took in 2018 of the Swetakali Temple, or Nardevi Mandir. So what you're looking at on your screen is the high altar of this temple. And you'll notice there are three different forms of Kali. And these are forms of Kali that are worshipped in the Kathmandu Valley of Nepal. And in the center is Swetakali, the white Kali, also known as Nardevi, the Devi of humanity. And in the following 2 weeks, next week, we'll be honoring the second form, Ma Bhadrakali, and then the third form, Ma Dakshinkali. And then I'm also going to do a special edition of this series for the tall figure in the back, Mahakali, who is really all three forms combined. So again, welcome and namaste, and thank you for joining me, and namaste to Elizabeth, who's joining right now, and anybody else who happens to be tuning in at this time. Please feel free to say hello using the chat function on the bottom of your screen. So before I go any further, I'd like to say a little something about the branch of Hinduism whose spirituality I have been sharing with you and will be sharing with you. First, I want to say a little bit about the word Hinduism itself. Really, it's a very modern term, and it was actually first coined by British anthropologists during the occupation of India. Hindu means south of the Sindhu or Indus River. And actually, somebody living in India or Nepal would not have used the term Hindu to describe his or her belief system until maybe 1860, 1870. Prior to that, a collective term that might have been used is Sanatan Dharma, or the eternal Dharma, or just simply the Dharma itself. But really, what we think of as Hinduism is really a mixture of different traditions, some stronger in other regions than others. And I'd like to share with you a little bit about the branches of Hinduism. So there's Vaishnavi or Vaishnavism, and this is the spirituality surrounding Lord Vishnu and his 10 incarnations, including Lord Krishna. Then there is Shaiva or Shaivism, and this is the devotion to Lord Shiva. And then there is Shakta. And Shakta, which this temple is dedicated to, is spiritual devotion surrounding the Divine Mother. Some other branches of Hinduism would include Shmarta or Shmartism, which is the eclectic branch of Hinduism. It's really a little bit of everything. And then there's a couple of other minor traditions which are worth mentioning. There is the Surya sect or tradition, and this is the devotion centered around the sun and the moon and the planetary astrological devas. And then there's the Ganapati sect or tradition, and this is surrounding the worship of Lord Ganesha. And I'd like to say namaste to RW, who's joining us right now. So in Shakta, everybody's familiar with the Maha Mantra of the Vaishnavi sect. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari. So in Shakta, there is also a Maha Mantra, also known as the Navarna mantra, and that is Om Aing Rim Klim Chamundai Viche. And there are 3 very powerful Bij mantras, that is seed mantras or seed syllables, also known as bijaktras, that begin this mantra, Aing Rim Klim. And those same mantras have associations with our 3 forms of Kali, the tree Devi that we have on our altar. Aing for Ma Swetakali, white Kali. Hrim for Bhadrakali, and Klim for Dakshin Kali. So really the next 3, counting today's program, the next 4 installments are really an exploration into this Maha Mantra of the Shakta tradition. So the mantra we're going to be using in our puja and meditation this evening is the Aing mantra, and I'll be sharing some information on that. First, I'd like to say a little bit more about Ma Swetakali. So the image I have on the high altar, I'm going to bring her a little closer to the camera. She's a very old, lacquered brass figure. And she was a very lucky eBay find. I saw her on the website, could not take my eyes off of her, had to have her. And the person who was selling her really didn't know what he was having. I spent all of $14 for, and that includes the shipping. But she's just amazing. And she and the bone figure you saw me using on Friday, those are probably my two favorite Divine Mother images. Oh, and I have something else on the high altar that wants to be shared as well. Just got my attention. So when I visited the Nardevi temple in 2018, sometime before I arrived, a big truck smashed into the foundation stone. And there were little pieces of this stone all over the street. And I found this little triangular piece that just fit perfectly in my hand. And so in my temple here in the United States, I have a little piece of the Nardevi temple in a very honored place on the high altar tonight at the feet of Ma Swetakali. I'm going to bring another version of this statue in front of the camera to show you. Because she's a newer version, she's a little easier to see the details of. So in the story that I shared, I mentioned that the king was charged by a bull elephant. So when you see a Kali from Nepal with this hooked instrument in her hand, that is an elephant goad. And I'll show you another version of that in just a moment. And that represents the divine's ability to guide us in the right direction. She bears the sword, which is for cutting away our ego attachments, and those are represented by the severed head of a demon in this hand. She holds a small shield, and that shield is not for her protection. You have Kali's sword is an invincible weapon. If you have Kali's sword, you can't lose. So that little protective shield is for the protection of her children, the protection of her devotees. She holds a coil of rope for binding ignorance. And she holds a skull cup or kapala, representing the transformation of consciousness. And she displays here the mudra of dispelling fear. And then her other free hand is pointing down in the opposite direction. And this is the mudra of giving boons. We let go our fears, the rewards come to us. In this particular version, she is standing with her right foot. So this is in the Dakshina form, the benevolent form, on Lord Shiva, who happens to be in Bhujangasana or cobra pose. And this has an association with rising Kundalini. And then if we look on the stomach of this figure, we see that coiled Kundalini energy reaching upwards. She is skeletal in nature because she is the mother who truly gives everything to her children. She may be fearful to many, but notice the comforting expression, the motherly or grandmotherly expression on her face. And then what's interesting about the Nepali forms of Kali is we see a strong syncretism, a strong blending with the Buddhism of that area, the Buddhism coming originally from Tibet. And so we see this crown of 5 skulls representing the transformation of our inner poisons into inner wisdoms. She's standing upon a lotus flower, which we also see in Tibetan Buddhist female deities. Sun disk upon a lotus, so enlightened consciousness, purity, and think of the lotus reaching upwards toward the sun. And then the third eye in her forehead. She accesses not just regular waking consciousness, but other forms of consciousness as well. And then a signature piece of this that we have also on this older figure is in her crown, there's a little figure of an owl. And the owl has an strong association as one of the vehicles for Ma Chamundakali. Owls are, of course, ambush predators. They can swoop down in the night. And so she reminds us that change can happen at any instant, at any instant. Here today, gone tomorrow. Think very carefully about the things you choose to become attached to. I'm going to show you a traditional painting of Ma Swetakali. Try and hold this in such a way that my light doesn't block it. So we see that she is squatting in a birth-giving position. And Swetakali traditionally is the mother of Kumari, the virgin goddess of Kathmandu and two of the other old city-states in the Kathmandu Valley, Bhaktipur and Patan. And according to Newari legend, the Newar are the main ethnic group living in the Kathmandu Valley. Kumari gave birth to the universe through her womb. And so Swetakali being her mother, she is the mother of creation. Her throne is those same 5 skulls that are in her crown, poisons transforming into wisdom. And then in this very traditional image, here we see the elephant goad. There's a damaru drum representing the rhythms of the universe. There's the katvanga, or skull staff, which represents, again, mastery over change. And there's that coil of rope for binding ignorance. Jai Ma Swetakali. Jai Ma Swetakali. Jai Ma Swetakali. So before we begin our puja, I'd like to share with you part of an article from the Vedanta Today website. And this is on the seed syllable Aing. Aing Bij Mantra, the ancient secret of inner peace. Bij mantras are considered to be the most powerful and sacred of all mantras. They are believed to be the seed or essence of all mantras, and their power lies in the ability to unlock the full potential of the mind and soul. One such powerful Bij mantra is the Aing mantra. The mantra is believed to represent the goddess Mahakali or Mahasarasvati. But most importantly, the Aing Bij mantra is dedicated to Vak Devi, the deity of speech. Hence, this mantra is also known as the Vag mantra, the mantra that gives you the powers of speech. In English, people pronounce the mantra in many ways. It can be I'm, or I'm, or Aim, or Aing. I use the Aing pronunciation myself in honor of my Kriya guru, Mira Pandey of Varanasi, India. She initiated me into Kriya Yoga, which is one of my key lineages. And so I use her pronunciation personally. One other variant of the Aing mantra is Ahima. And Ahima is the Newari, I mentioned the Newar earlier, it's the Newar word for mother or grandmother. The history and origins of the Aing mantra can be traced back to ancient ritual traditions, where it was revered as a powerful tool for attaining spiritual enlightenment. The origins of the mantra are rooted in the belief that there is a direct link to the ultimate reality, the source of all creation, and the ultimate goal of spiritual practices. According to the Hindu scripture, the Durga Shaptasati, also known as the Devi Mahatmya or the Chandipat, and this is found in the Markandeya Purana, the Aing mantra is considered to be the seed of Mahakali, and it's believed to be the source of the power and energy of the goddess. The mantra is also in the Krishna Yajna a salutation to Lord Krishna, and that Lord Krishna is the doer, the ascetic, and the knowledge of the body, and the knowledge and the body. In the Sundorya Larahi, another Shakta scripture, the Aing mantra is the seed of the self, power, nature, wealth, and the eternal. The Aing Bij mantra is composed of 3 syllables, each with its own unique meaning and significance. The first syllable, A or A, represents the beginning, the seed of creation. The second syllable, I or E, represents the present, the state of being in the present moment. And the final syllable, or represents the end, the ultimate goal of spiritual practices. Together, these syllables form a powerful mantra that holds the power to connect the individual with the ultimate reality and bring about spiritual growth and self-discovery. So Aing can be the dispeller of fear through knowledge. So often we fear because we don't know. It's the unknown, it's the not knowing. Aing is also associated with the third eye chakra. And as a Sarasvati mantra, it is also connected with knowledge, learning, and the arts, the transmission of culture, and also the awakening of Kundalini energy. So that's Aing in a nutshell. So I'd like to invite everybody to take a nice, comfortable seated position where you can look upon your screen with a relaxed gaze. Hopefully you have your puja set with you. I'll talk you through the basic puja. We'll be chanting the Aing mantra and then doing some repetitions of it after the puja. So find that comfortable seated position where your back is straight. Maybe roll the shoulders back to open the chest. Let's begin with some long, slow, deep breathing, yogic breath. Letting go of the cares and the concerns of the day. Letting go of those concerns of things that have happened or things that need to happen. Let each breath bring you to a greater sense of relaxation. And also an increased desire for having our awareness in the present moment. And the Shakta branch of Hinduism is non-dualistic. In Shakta, the divine isn't something simply that's out there, separate from us. The divine surrounds us, but is also very much within ourselves. So take a moment and focus on your heart center and connect with that divine presence within yourself. And know that in this spirituality, that this work is for the purpose of cultivating our knowledge of that divine presence within so that it can flow through us and influence our actions, our words, all the things that we accomplish in our lives. And I invite you to slowly bring the palms of your hands together at your heart center. And if you'd like, I invite you to think of some small aspect of your life that is ready for healing or resolution. And just ask for that divine mother presence within yourself to guide you toward that healing, toward that knowledge that you're seeking, toward that resolution of some issue in your life. And know that in taking part in our puja this evening, that you're taking an important step in receiving that boon from the Divine Mother. And let's begin our practice by chanting the syllable Aing 3 times. Nice deep inhale. Second deep inhale. Third deep inhale. So now, taking the spoon from your water pot, placing some water in your hands and cleansing your hands. With your right hand, anointing your third eye and your heart center. Taking some water in the spoon and cleansing your altar. Taking the bottle of perfume, placing a little on your ring finger or middle finger. And anointing the object or objects of devotion. Placing a little oil on your third eye. Taking up the food that you're offering and circling it 3 times with your right hand. And offering it to the deity. Lighting your candle or lamp. Taking it in your right hand and circling it 3 times. And offering it to the deity. Taking up the incense with your right hand and lighting it. Encircling the smoke 3 times. Placing it in its holder and putting it on the altar. Taking a little water and offering some water to cool the atmosphere. And finally, offering a flower. Bringing your hands together and bowing. And then I invite you to continue in chanting the syllable Aing with me. This can be an open-eyed meditation where you're focusing on the images on your screen. It can be a closed-eye meditation where you're going within. You're welcome to join me in the chanting, or you can meditate quietly. But either way, let the sound of the mantra guide your consciousness to where it needs to be at this time. I I Breathe deeply. Making the energies of the mantra a part of you. And feel them working toward what you most need right now. And feel that Divine Mother's presence within yourself, as well as surrounding you. Connecting you to all things and to all beings. And offering your mala, Jai Ma. Offering another flower if you have one, Jai Ma. Bowing in devotion, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma. And I invite you to keep your hands together at heart center. Once again, acknowledging that divine presence within yourself, knowing she's there to lead you and to teach you, to heal you. Take a moment to give gratitude to yourself for taking part in our practice tonight. And slowly opening your eyes. And namaste. Blessings always. Thank you so very much for joining me. And Jai Ma. Jai Ma. Jai Ma. Thank you. So I hope you enjoyed that and look forward to you joining me next Tuesday when we honor Bhadrakali and the Hrim mantra. You may have noticed when we were chanting the Aing mantra, there might have been a lot of awareness on your upper body, especially the third eye area. And when we chant Hrim, you may find yourself really drawn to the heart chakra. This coming Friday at 7 p.m. will be part 40 of our series on the 64 yoginis, and we'll be honoring Abhaya Yogini, who, like Ma Swetakali, is also a dispeller of fear. So it's really interesting how these two different series sometimes, very often, they flow together quite nicely. As always, I encourage you to take some time, some quiet contemplation before resuming the day or the evening's activities. I'd like to thank Elizabeth, Jamie, and RW for joining me this evening, and anybody else who is watching live. And also thank you to anyone who'll be watching the recordings in the future. So once again, thank you so very much. Jai Mata Di, Jai Mata Di, Jai Mata Di, Jai Ma, and thank you.